Welcome to Nyambung, a program to get you clicked and connect.
And I'm also curious, Budina, what will happen after this year's COP26? And what do you think will happen by the time the due has come, the 2030 has come, and hopefully the goal will be reached? If not, it will be
It will be
disastrous.
disasters.
Yeah, it will be disastrous.
The thing is, the risk is already announced. The risk is already spoken. It will be extinction of some species. There will be pollution that we cannot bear, that human being cannot bear. Potentially, there will be another spread of disease. It will be much more difficult to alleviate the burdens of disease. There will be malnutrition for some people who cannot access enough water and food. Not to mention water shortages and also natural disasters that would create, bang after bang after bang of pressures, and that sucked up, the energy and from economic development that many countries have tried to build for decades so far. So it's a valid point, your question, what will happen after November 2021? So my concern nowadays is the COVID-19 pandemic. It is still ongoing and has no sign yet of going away. So obviously many countries would focus on making sure that they can rebound their economy even when the pandemic is still on, while waiting for the medicine of COVID to be discovered. So there will be little room, I'm afraid, for some countries to take brave step of shifting their energy source from one thing to another, which is why I think United Kingdom is trying to pressure countries with forests. So countries with large forests, and in the world there are not that many countries with big canopy of forest. They have to bear responsibility, and I'm afraid Indonesia is one of it. So one of the things that I noticed is just announced is that Indonesia is being embraced by United Kingdom to participate as the, what they call it?
Co-chair, Budina.
Co-chair of the COP, right? I think on the one hand that may be a pride for Indonesia, but under current circumstance, this could be a big burden for Indonesia. And I'll be curious how the direction of discourse would become. Would the developed countries shift the attention to countries with large forests like Indonesia and start blaming on deforestation and stuff, and push us to stop or transforming the use of our land, and else they will sanction us economically. But I have to say that if they take this route, it's a mistake. Countries with large forests are countries who are basically less developed countries. People who live in the forest are relatively poor. So we may call for these countries to participate more actively in making sure that the businesses are not taking out forest. But one must remember that these businesses are not growing on its own. They also get money from investments. They also do their businesses because of demands growing from outside of the forest endowed countries. So, again, some middle ground needs to be reached. And I really wish that the COP26 will discuss this really seriously. You cannot just pass on blame to somebody, because you cannot finish the job yourself. I think that's something that we all would desire to see.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. The offer to Indonesia from the UK to be the co-chair of COP26, it could be a blessing in disguise, or it could be, what do you call it, Budina?
Accident in disguise.
Yeah, accident in disguise. It's, we should see where will this go. And okay, Budina, you said that Indonesia could actually be sanctioned economically if we are proven that we are not following
Performing.
the agreement. So, but you said that developed countries like the US, the rest of the world cannot do anything if they withdraw from the agreement. So that's actually really sad if the rest of the world can sanction this one developing countries but cannot do anything to the developed countries, especially big countries.
Yes. So this is it. The context of what I'm talking about is that if you talk about ratifying UNFCCC and sticking with the commitment on paper, basically you cannot give any penalty to countries withdrawing to that, except social sanction. Saying bad things about why do you do that? Why would you dare to do so, and everything. But the minute the issue becomes more specific at the like field level, at the implementation level, it can goes ugly. This is what I'm concerned about. For example, about deforestation. The world comprised of large forests, and some countries have more forests than others. And there are groups who watch, these countries managing the forests, and all they been reporting is that these countries has lost several percent of their forests within this span of years. What these groups are not paying attention to is the rights of these countries to also explore its resources, and the alternative of doing so without deforestation. So I agree that at some points the state should have more innovation on how to avoid deforestation, but at the same time, deforestation doesn't happen because of one party only. It happens because of economic activities that benefits many kinds of groups. For instance, real estate projects or the opening of cities. Asia is one of the places on the world where megapolitan cities continue to be born. And megapolitan cities are center of economic activities. Yeah, not only it becomes the place where buyers and sellers meet, and when I say sellers, these sellers are from all over the world. The products that they sell are from all over the world, and the higher the bigger the megapolitan city, it will mean that the products that being sold in the city will also be high end. And it's impossible to sell high-end products without technologies, without investments coming from developed countries. So there is an interest from developed countries to make sure that growth of mega cities, real estate business continues in developing countries. But the question is, why won't you be responsible for the same thing to make sure that deforestation doesn't happen? And you cannot just build center of for shopping without without thinking that the people who work in the center of the shopping centers are also living creatures. They also have needs. They also need houses that needs to be not too far away from the shopping centers and such. So one needs to curb, to stop, this consumption desire, this desire to continue opening outlets for selling products. I think that's one reality that people have never sink in yet. It's the world is such a connected chain at this point that you cannot solely see deforestation as just this group of people or individuals trying to eliminate forests from one place. Question is, why do they do that? Where do they sell the products? The furnitures that you enjoy in Europe, for instance, where do they come from? And you would like to have big businesses such as, one of those, I don't have to mention the name of the brand, right? But we have big places selling nice home furnitures for middle income classes around the world. And it's the technology, the model is built in Europe. Where are these coming from? The woods. Where are the woods coming from? One should ask that questions and step back. And rather than sending just black campaigns to the country with the forest, one should take the responsibility together and take what do you call it? I would say more proportionate response. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the bigger picture, right, Budina? The whole picture. You cannot see one aspect and then turning blind eye on the one aspect that is interconnected. It's like you are so busy seeing the river without even seeing the spring, the spring water.
Yes.
And then the spring water doesn't provide water again, and then you're thinking like, why is the river so dry? And then like you're busy thinking why the river is so dry while you don't even see the spring is drying up.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.